I never thought a text message could rip my life apart. The locks are changed. The kids don't want you. It's over. That was it. 12 years of marriage, 2 kids, a home I built with my own 2 hands, board by board, gone in a sentence. No warning, no explanation, just erased. And the worst part? It wasn't just my wife Melissa turning her back. It was knowing the 2 people I loved more than anything, my own children, were being used against me. I stood there, luggage still in hand, realizing that while I'd been overseas consulting on a major cyber defense initiative, someone had been tearing my life apart from the inside. My name, my family, my dignity. She didn't just betray me, she tried to delete me. And in that exact moment, standing in the pickup lane at Austin Bergstrom International Airport, one thought hit me harder than anything else. If she thinks I'm walking away quietly, she has no idea who she's dealing with. Before we dive into today's story, take a moment to share where you're watching from. We love seeing how our stories bring people together from every corner of the world. Your thoughts and comments make this community what it is, and we're grateful to have you here. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story full of betrayal, justice, and redemption. Now, sit back, maybe grab a drink, and buckle in. Because this isn't just a story, it's a reckoning. I always thought betrayal would come with a warning, a gut feeling, a quiet moment that didn't feel right. But no, it arrived in the form of a text. A cold, heartless string of words that shattered 12 years in under 5 seconds. The locks are changed. The kids don't want you. It's over. That was it. No explanations. No phone call. Just erasure as if I'd never existed. Melissa didn't even have the decency to speak to me. Not after 12 years. Not after raising 2 kids together. Not after everything we built. I stood frozen in the hot Texas air outside the terminal, gripping the handle of my carry-on until my knuckles turned white. People around me were laughing, hugging, rushing to their next destination. And me? I was the man stuck in place, just realizing my old life didn't exist anymore. But the real gut punch wasn't even the message. It was that line. The kids don't want you. She knew exactly where to strike. Not just ending our marriage, but driving a knife between me and my children. Ethan, 24, and Grace, 12. My world. My stomach twisted. 3 weeks ago, we'd video called. It was strained, sure. Deployments always took a toll. But this was nuclear. This was war. My thumb hovered over my phone's keyboard. Dozens of responses rushed through my head, rage, pleading, demand for answers. But none of them felt right. Then something colder took over, sharper. I typed just 2 words. As you wish. Anyone who really knows me knows what that means. It's not surrender. It's not submission. It's a switch. The same one that flipped back when I ran cyber defense ops for the military and private clients overseas. When everyone else panicked, I got cold, precise, focused. I slipped my phone into my jacket pocket and hailed a cab. Not to home. That wasn't home anymore. I wasn't about to roll up to locked doors like a dog left on the porch. I gave the driver a different address, downtown Austin, in the tech district. The sleek glass tower where my attorney, Celeste Draven, kept her office. 20 minutes passed like hours. My brain churned. Why? How long? Was it just about someone else? Or something more? People don't burn 12 years down for no reason. I started doing what I do best. Trace the breach. Follow the access points. Follow the assets. Follow the patterns. But this wasn't a cybersecurity operation. This was my life, my wife, my children. The cab stopped in front of Draven and Associates glass and steel, cold and calculated, perfect for what I needed. Celeste was waiting at the elevator, mid-40s, platinum blonde, black blazer sharp enough to draw blood. No smile, no greeting, just a nod. If you're showing up in person, I assume it's bad, she said. Worse than bad, I replied. She sat across the table, steepled her fingers. Talk. I slid my phone across the table. Celeste read the message, one brow arched. She waited until you were physically back on U.S. soil to send that? Cold. Cold doesn't even start to cover it, I replied. She leaned back in her chair, eyes sharp. First questionnaire you hear to salvage this marriage. or destroy it. I didn't blink. I'm here to win. On my terms. Her smile thinned. Predatory. Good. Weak ones try to negotiate. You're not here for that. No, I said firmly. I'm here for the kids. And everything I've built. Then we move surgical. Fast. Brutal. She opened her laptop and started typing. First, I need access to your financials. Full asset inventory joint and personal. I nodded. Already secure. Personal accounts untouched. The joint ones? She tapped a few keys. Her mouth tightened. She's been moving money. Quietly. Transferring into a private wealth management firm. Under her name. Cayman Islands. My pulse spiked, but my voice stayed calm. So she's been planning this for months. Celeste nodded. You don't make offshore moves overnight. We'll find it. Freeze it. Her fingers flew over the keyboard. But if she's making these kinds of moves financially, she's probably been preparing emotionally, too, including the kids. That landed harder than the message. I'd seen it before. The slow rewrite. Dad doesn't care. Dad's gone. Dad left us. Weaponized words behind closed doors. While I was across the world working, she'd been poisoning the air back home. A line had been crossed. This wasn't a breakup. This was war. Celeste shut her laptop with a snap. First thing tomorrow, we lock her out. Then we peel it back assets, properties, offshore accounts, hidden funds. And if there's another man... There is, I said, voice low. I didn't even need proof yet. That message didn't come from someone conflicted it, came from someone already gone. Then we burn it all down, she said, standing. But clean, legal, strategic. I nodded. Then we start now. I walked out of her office a different man. Not broken, not defeated, changed. If Melissa thought I'd crumble, she forgot who she married. She didn't just betray Mesh, tried to erase me. She declared war on the wrong man. I've spent years protecting CEOs from cyber collapse people who woke up to find their networks hijacked and their reputations hanging by a thread. I never thought I'd turn those same skills on my own life, but here I was. Because my wife had turned my home into hostile territory. It started the second I left Celeste's office. I called Griff Maddox, former special ops turned private security consultant. He wasn't just a guy with camera, she was a tactician. If something moved, Griff saw it before it moved. Griff, it's Frank. I'm already spun up, he replied. Celeste gave me the heads up. You ready? More than ready. You'll have a drone in the air in 20. While Griff mobilized, I dialed Harlan Quinn, top-tier cyber forensic analyst. Brilliant, weird, antisocial, but a savant. Hey, Frank Walker, I said. I need a full scrape financials, property titles, shell companies, her accounts, his accounts, everything. If it moves digitally, I want eyes on it. This real? Harlan asked, already typing. Very real. Give me 6 hours. I grabbed a discreet hotel suite in Bicklow profile. From there, I accessed the hidden back doors I'd quietly installed years ago in our shared financial infrastructure. Not because I didn't trust Melissa, but because it's what people like me do. What I found made my blood run cold. Our joint accounts had been drained. $412,000 gone in the past 8 weeks. Credit cards maxed. A line of credit opened against our house unauthorized, $600,000. And all of it funneled into a shell corporation, Thornton and Pierce Holdings. Thornton. It wasn't just an affair. It was a merger, a hostile takeover of my life. Griff's call came mid-search. Got visuals, he said, then texted me a drone feed. There he was, Chase Thornton, walking up my front path like he owned the place. Designer loafers, rolled sleeves, confident swagger. Like nothing about this felt temporary. Melissa met him at the door, not sneaking, not nervous, like it was his home. She kissed him, pulled him inside. Griff's voice came through, steady, cold. Not a fling. This is domestic, long-term, Confirmed. Over the next few hours, the drone recorded everything. Thornton poured scotch from my decanter, played basketball with Ethan in my driveway, tucked Grace's hair behind her ear while she sat on the patio scrolling TikTok. This wasn't infidelity. It was a full-blown replacement. Then Harlan called back. "Frank," he said quietly, "you're gonna want to sit down." "I'm already sitting," I said. Harlan didn't hesitate. "She's transferred $3.4 million from your shared holdings into Thornton and Pierce Holdings over the last year. Multiple shell companies, real estate plays in Costa Rica. One of the properties was purchased 2 months ag-titled under Thornton's Offshore LLC. I clenched my jaw. "Say that again." "Frank, they're literally combining your home with the property next door. Architectural plans filed, permit applications. It's not just betrayal, it's deletion. Physically, legally." I stood still. No rage, no shouting. Just a cold, quiet calculation. Tactical minds don't waste energy on noise. "Good work," I said. "Keep going. Dig deeper." "Already on it," he replied. I walked over to the window of the hotel suite, stared out at the downtown Austin skyline sunset, cutting across the high-rises like a blade. A city that never cared how high you flew, only how loud you crashed. I texted Celeste. "Full breach confirmed. We move at dawn." Her reply came fast. "Roger that." My reply to Melissa? Nothing. Not yet. But the erasure she tried to begin, she was about to learn how a real professional handles a breach. Then came Griff's message, and that one hit harder than any spreadsheet or legal record ever could. "Ethan's distant, keeps Thornton at arm's length. But Grace, she's all in. Laughing, joking. Acts like he's family. Thought you should know." I stared at the screen for a long time, thumb hovering, not typing, not breathing. It wasn't just betrayal anymore. It was contamination. I wasn't losing a house, or money, or even a marriage. I was watching my children, my own children, being pulled inch by inch into someone else's manufactured reality. Then Griff sent one more line. "Thornton's been driving Grace to school. Ethan's pushing back. Kids are shutting down." And that changed everything. This wasn't Melissa's war anymore. It was his. Thornton wasn't just taking my wife. He was trying to take my role as father, as anchor, as protector. That's when I decided no more watching. I picked up the phone and called Ethan's old lacrosse coach, Rick Sanders. Mid-40s. Good man. Known me since Ethan first picked up a stick. "Coach, it's Frank. I need a favor. Don't tell Ethan I'm coming. I need to see my son." His voice immediately shifted. "Frank, you okay? Something wrong?" "Not yet," I said. "But it's about to be." I pulled into the school parking lot 15 minutes before practice ended, parked where I knew I wouldn't be spotted. My palms were sweating. I couldn't tell if I was furious or scared. Maybe both. A voice in my head whispered, "What if he doesn't want to see you? What if she already turned him?" And then he appeared, my son, walking out of the locker room, stick slung over his shoulder, damp hair, taller than I remembered, but also smaller somehow, worn. I stepped out. "Ethan." He froze, whole body tensed, like a pressure point had been triggered. Slowly, he turned. "Dad?" "Yeah, it's me." I stuffed my hands into my pockets, unsure how to breathe. Can we talk?" For a moment, something flickered in his ice relief. Maybe, but it vanished under something heavier. Confusion, anger. "Why now?" he asked. "Why after everything?" I took a step closer. "Ethan, what are you?" "Don't," he cut me off. "Don't stand there like you didn't choose this. Like you didn't pick your job over us. Over Mom. Over me and Grace." My breath caught in my throat. "Who told you that?" "Does it matter?" "It matters more than you know," I said quietly. "Ethan, listen. I never—" "You left," he said flatly. "You always left. And when you finally came back, You didn't even try. Mom said you didn't fight. Said you just walked away. I felt the words crush into my chest. Melissa's script, her narrative, fed to him like truth. Ethan, I need you to hear me very carefully. My voice was low, calm, focused. I never walked away. I never chose work over you. Not once. What your mom told you, it's not true. Not even close. He crossed his arms, guarded, but there was a flicker of something in his eyes, something that wasn't there before. Then where were you? He asked. Why didn't you call? Why didn't you fight for us? I exhaled. Because she told me that you and Grace didn't want to see me, that you were done with me. She changed the locks, cut me off, from everything. I didn't walk away, Ethan. I was pushed. Silence settled between us. And then, softly, he kicked at the asphalt. Is it because of Chase? The name landed like acid on my tongue. Yeah, I said. A lot of it is. His fists clenched, and when he spoke next, it was in a whisper, but it was the truest thing I'd heard in months. I hate him, Ethan said quietly. He acts like he's doing us this big favor, like replacing you is just normal. I bit back the swell in my chest. I know exactly how that feels. Grace buys it, he muttered. She's trying to, but I don't. His chin trembled. I don't want him. I just want you. Want me, I finished for him. My voice cracked, just slightly. He nodded once quick, like admitting it might hurt too much otherwise. I stepped forward and wrapped him in my arms. And for the first time since this nightmare began, my son hugged me back. When I got back to the hotel, my hands were still shaking. I hadn't even sat down when my phone buzzed. Grace. The name alone made my chest tighten. I answered. Pumpkin? No words. Just shaky, uneven breathing. Grace? What's wrong? A sniff, then a tiny broken voice. Dad, I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I need you to see something. My stomach dropped. What is it? Ping. Photo. Incoming. I opened hand, nearly dropped the phone. A picture of Ethan's forearm. Bruises. Clear. Deep. Finger-shaped. Fresh. I stopped breathing. Grace. Who? It was Preston, she whispered. Last week, Ethan told him to get out of his room. They fought. Preston grabbed him. Hard. My grip tightened so violently around the phone I thought it might snap. Does your mother know? No, she said softly. Ethan made me promise not to tell. Said it would only make it worse. My vision tunneled. My whole body began to vibrate with a kind of rage I didn't know I was capable of. I didn't know what to do, she continued. I thought, maybe you should know. You always knew what to do. You did the right thing, I said, voice shaking but firm. Do you hear me? You did exactly the right thing. Dad, what's gonna happen? I clenched my jaw. I'm going to take care of it. Griff and Harlan were in the suite within the hour. I slammed the phone onto the table, the photo still open. Griff didn't say a word. His jaw flexed. Hands turned to fists. Harlan muttered under his breath. That son of a... We escalate, I said flatly. Now, no more playing chess. No more waiting. This ends. Griff pulled out his laptop, eyes hard. Custody battle goes nuclear? Exactly. I pointed at the screen. We get this in front of a judge. Financial manipulation, psychological control, and now physical abuse. Harlan nodded, already typing. I'll have a full breakdown of Thornton's offshore movement by morning. Already tracking a Cayman-based pipeline where he's moving investor money. And the house? Architectural plans are filed. Melissa's trust fund covered most of it. Thornton's name is tied to a shell corp connected to the lot next door. They're midway through merging the properties. Perfect, I said coldly. Because tomorrow morning we freeze every account, flag every transfer, and file emergency injunctions to kill the consolidation. Dead. Griff looked up. And the kids? I locked eyes with him. We go for full custody, not jointful. And Thornton doesn't get within 100 yards of either of them ever again. That night, lying in the dark hotel room, texts from Melissa started pouring in. You're being ridiculous. Answer me. This is petty and cruel. I didn't respond. I watched the little dots appear, disappear, appear again. Frustration, desperation, panic. Good. Let her sweat. I rolled onto my side and stared at the phone one last time before setting it face down on the nightstand. I whispered into the dark. You wanted me erased? Watch carefully. Watch what it looks like when I disappear but take everything with me. At 6:13 a.m., Harlan's message came through. Frank, it's worse than we thought. Call me now. I was already upright before the phone even stopped vibrating. Talk, I said. No time for pleasantries, he snapped. Thornton isn't just shady. He's dirty. Full on. Money laundering. Wire fraud. Tax evasion. Oh, and he's knee-deep in a Ponzi scheme posing as a private equity fund based in the Caymans. I dragged a hand down my face. You're telling me the guy sleeping in my house is committing federal crimes from my living room? That's exactly what I'm telling you, Harlan replied. And here's the kicker, he's using your home address as the registered business address for at least 2 shell companies. My blood turned ice cold. That's cute. That's very cute. Not cute, dangerous. If this blows before we file, you could get swept into it. You're tied to it publicly, even if you're clean. Then we're not waiting. My voice dropped, sharp as steel. It ends today. I'm already ahead of you, Harlan said. Griff's running a surveillance van outside the house, recording everything. Good, but listen, this goes beyond family court, beyond custody. This is federal, FBI level. Are we ready? I looked out the window at the pale Texas sunrise breaking over the city. We're more than ready. I'd been building the dossier for a week. Thornton's paper trail was a disaster. Sloppy, arrogant, and wide open. I pinged a contact at the Financial Crimes Division last night. Turned out they'd been tracking Thornton for months, but lacked trigger evidence. We just gave it to them. I paced the hotel suite like a caged wolf. And Melissa? I asked. She's entangled deep, Harlan said. Thornton used her trust as a laundering node. Whether she knew or not, she's exposed. If she doesn't cut ties fast, she's going down with him. My fists curled. Let her. You sure? Dead sure. By noon, the noose was tightening. Griff had eyes on the house. Thornton's black BMW sat parked in the driveway like always. Melissa's white Range Rover sat right next to it, lined up with surgical precision like everything in her curated life. Griff's voice crackled over the comms. Routine, nothing suspicious. He's out back pacing, looks stressed. Good, I said. Let him sweat. Harlan patched in from his terminal. FBI, just confirmed they're coordinating the warrant now. All they needed was confirmation on the final wire transfer. You have it? Got it an hour ago. I checked the time. The gala's still on, 8 sharp? Yeah, Harlan confirmed. Blanton Museum, downtown Austin. They're both on the guest list. A slow grin tugged at the edge of my mouth. Perfect. Public venue. Maximum exposure. Harlan hesitated. You ready for this? Because once this breaks, it's not just their world that burns. Everything changes. Forever. I turned toward the window. The hill country sunset bled orange across the skyline. No, Harlan. I've been ready since the moment she texted me. The locks are changed. The kids don't want you. It's over. At 7:50 p.m., I pulled into the underground garage of the Blanton Museum. Black suit, no tie, no smile. Not here to network. Not here to drink. I was here to end it. Griff met me at the service entrance dressed like catering crew. Hidden earpiece. Focused. Cameras live. Drones up. Feed is patched to the FBI van 2 blocks down, he said. Thornton's inside. Drink in hand. Melissa just arrived full gown. acting like the queen of hill country. Perfect, I said. Let's begin. Griff handed me the tablet. Live feeds. You want the honors? Gladly. I tapped the screen. High above the museum, the drone shifted into final position. Its signal hijacked the projection display behind the stage, the one currently rotating through art sponsors and donors. The screen blinked, glitched, then froze. Bold white letters appeared over black. Federal investigation initiated. Wire fraud. Securities fraud. Money laundering chase. Thornton. Vertical bar. Walker Trust. Vertical bar Raven Ridge Holdings. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Forks dropped. Glasses stilled midair. Heads turned like in slow motion. Then live drone footage filled the display. Thornton's car. My house. A cascade of shell companies. Names. Arrows. Account lines leading to the Caymans. Panama. Zurich. The room shifted into stunned silence. Shock. Fascination. Quiet horror. I stepped into the room, just in time to see Thornton's tan face go pale. His hand, mid-toast with a hedge fund manager, stopped in midair. Melissa was beside him, eyes darting from the screen, to him, to the crowd, now backing away like they were radioactive. What the? Thornton's voice caught. He spun toward the AV booth. Too late. Two plainclothes agents were already moving. Their jackets flared open, badges flashed. Mr. Chase Thornton, one said. FBI, Financial Crimes Division. You're under arrest. The click of handcuffs echoed louder than any applause. The room might as well have been silent theater. A few guests gasped. Some cheered under their breath. Others just filmed it all, pretending to check their phones. Melissa staggered backward like someone had punched her. No, this isn't. One of the agents turned toward her. Mrs. Walker, we'll need you to remain available for questioning regarding your financial role in Raven Ridge Holdings. Her voice cracked. I didn't know. I stepped into her line of sight, hands in my pockets. Calm, solid, final. She saw me. Her expression collapsed into panic, betrayal, and full realization. You, she whispered. You did this. No, I said, like ice. You did this. I just made sure the world saw it. By midnight, Thornton was booked. His mugshot had already leaked online. Charges included wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, falsifying business records, pending, child endangerment under investigation. Melissa hadn't been arrested yet, but she wasn't free either. All her personal accounts frozen, her legal access revoked. The trust fund her father had left her, locked under federal audit thanks to the laundering connection to Thornton's Cayman shell. She tried to erase me. Now, she was the one disappearing. The next morning, Celeste and I walked into the Travis County Family Court building with a mountain of evidence. She flipped open the custody filing, her expression stone. We've got financial fraud, conspiracy, asset manipulation. Then she slid a printed photo across the table Ethan's bruised forearm. And this, physical abuse. Opposing counselor, nervous junior associate now that Melissa's lead attorney, had wisely walked blanched 3 shades as he read through the file. You're asking for joint custody? He stammered. Celeste's smile was surgical. We're asking for full custody, permanently. By noon, it was over. The judge ruled in our favorable physical and legal custody. No overnight visits for Melissa. No contact, supervised or otherwise, for Chase Thornton assuming he ever saw daylight outside a prison transport again. As the ruling was read, I turned to look at my kids. Ethan was gripping Grace's hand, both of them crying. Not fear, not sadness, relief. When the hearing adjourned, they bolted from their seats straight into my arms. I'm sorry, Dad, Grace sobbed. I didn't know, I didn't understand, I thought… Shh, I whispered, holding them both like lifelines. It's over now. We're done. Ethan buried his face into my shoulder. Don't leave again. Please. Never. Not ever again, I promised. That afternoon, the final cherry on top arrived. The auction house trucks pulled up to the gated estate Melissa and Thornton had tried to crown as their new kingdom. She stood in the driveway, hair tangled, makeup streaked, still wearing the same designer gown from the Gallup night everything collapsed. Movers slapped neon yellow auction tags on her imported dining table, her walk-in wine collection, the custom Fendi sectional, the marble countertops she once told me made the home feel permanent. Now, it was all being liquidated to cover Thornton's legal fees, restitution demands, and frozen assets. I didn't show up in person. Didn't need to. But Griff sent pictures. In one, Melissa's face was buried in her hands as they loaded her grand piano onto a flatbed. Griff's caption, "You wanted erasure. Consider it granted." That night, the silence wasn't heavy. It wasn't sad. It was peaceful. The war wasn't fully over. There were loose ends to tie court filings, asset declarations, Thornton's looming federal trial. But the major battles were done. And this time, I hadn't just survived. I walked out the other side with my children intact, my life reclaimed, and my dignity sharpened into something permanent. There's something surreal about walking into a courtroom knowing you've already won. Not hope, not desperation, certainty. This wasn't a fight anymore. It was an execution. When I entered the courtroom that morning, I wore a deep navy, suit-tailored, precise. The weight that had sat on my chest for nearly a year, it was gone. Not lifted, evaporated. Across the aisle, Melissa sat stiff in her chair, hair pulled back too tightly, posture rigid, but the illusion was cracked. She shuffled papers she wasn't reading. Her eyes kept darting to the empty chair next to her Thornton's chair. Empty. Because Chase Thornton wasn't walking into this courtroom. Not today. Not ever. He was 14 floors below in a holding cell, awaiting arraignment on 6 federal charges: wire fraud, securities fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, conspiracy, and child endangerment. His attorney had filed a desperate motion for bail. Denied. No bail. Too risky. Melissa sat alone. Celeste leaned in, her voice low, sliding a crisp folder across the table. Every asset transfer, every offshore account, every manipulated document. The judge is going to see it all. I didn't nod, didn't gloat, just kept my eyes on the woman who once wore my ring, carried my name, and tried to delete me like I was some line item in a lifestyle plan gone stale. Her new lawyer, a junior partner, brought in last minute after her high-dollar defense firm abandoned ship, never even made eye contact. He knew. Everyone in that courtroom knew. This wasn't a hearing. This was a burial. The judge entered no nonsense, respected, known for siding with children's best interests and cutting no slack for manipulators. We stood, then sat. The room settled into cold, procedural quiet. The judge looked over his glasses. "Mr. Walker," he began, flipping through Celeste's motion. "Your counsel has filed for full legal and physical custody of both minor children. The filing includes evidence of financial abuse, psychological manipulation, fraudulent activity, and..." He paused, lifting the photo of Ethan's arm. "And alleged physical harm under the supervision of the mother's romantic partner." He looked up. "I'll be honest, I've rarely seen a file this comprehensive in my 22 years on this bench." Celeste stood, composed and precise. "Your Honor, this isn't just a divorce case. This is a coordinated deception, financial fraud, parental alienation, and most gravely, physical abuse of a minor." She placed a photo on the courtroom screen. Ethan's bruised forearm. A gasp rippled through the gallery. The judge's jaw tightened. Melissa's attorney, voice shaking, began. "Your Honor, we acknowledge the injury, but..." Celeste cut him off. "There's a police report filed 2 days ago. Ethan Walker corroborated the incident. Grace Walker witnessed it. The assailant was Chase Thornton, non-biological, non-custodial adult, currently in federal custody." She tapped the next slide. Thornton's arrest record. The FBI press release. His mugshot lit up the screen like a warning flare. The courtroom fell dead silent. Mrs. Walker, the judge said slowly, eyes narrowing. Were you aware that your partner was under federal investigation for financial crimes? Melissa swallowed. I didn't know, she stammered. I had no idea. The judge's brow lifted. And yet, $1.2 million from your trust fund was transferred to a shell company tied directly to one of Mr. Thornton's fraudulent developments. Her hands trembled. I thought it was an investment for our future. Our future. Her and Thornton. A fantasy built by siphoning everything I had built, severing my bond with my children, and planning to vanish to some island estate. Not on my watch. Celeste pressed further. Your Honor, beyond the financial misconduct, we have documented manipulation, false narratives designed to alienate the children from Mr. Walker. Misrepresentations about his absence during overseas, contracts twisted into abandonment, fabricated texts, grooming language. She clicked to the next file. Grace's messages, Ethan's statement, screenshots of Melissa's rewritten history. That's taken out of context, Melissa's voice cracked. I never. The judge raised a firm hand. Enough. His eyes scanned the bench. I've read every line. I've seen enough. Bang. The court awards full legal and physical custody of Ethan and Grace Walker to Mr. Frank Walker, effective immediately. Melissa gasped. Her attorney dropped his head. Furthermore, the judge continued, given the pattern of psychological interference and failure to protect minors from harm, Mrs. Walker is hereby restricted to supervised visitation only, pending psychological review, minimum 6 months. It hit her physically. A crack ran through her composure like breaking glass. Her face collapsed. No, you can't. You can't take them from me. Bang. Decision is final. The gavel echoed like judgment itself. The hearing ended. My kids didn't wait. Ethan launched himself into my arms, nearly knocking me back. Dad, you didn't leave. You didn't. I know, I whispered, holding him. I know, son. I never left you. Grace followed, tears streaming. I'm sorry I believed her. I didn't know. I pulled her close. Shh, you're safe. We're home now. Tears blurred my vision. Not from pain, from relief. But the day wasn't done. By 3 p.m., Melissa stood in what used to be our home, now a court-controlled asset. An appointed manager, 2 real estate brokers, and a moving crew filed through the front door, labeling, boxing, erasing. The imported marble countertops, tag for auction. The $280,000 Bentley she chauffeured Thornton in, repossessed. The designer furniture, gone. The climate-controlled wine cellar, emptied, bottle by bottle. Every detail of the fantasy empire she tried to build with my money and Thornton's scam swaz being liquidated. To cover fines, restitution, legal fees, lies. The house was under lien, scheduled for forced sale. And the yacht Thornton's escape plan? Already seized, hauled away, gone. Griff sent me pictures. One of Melissa, standing in the driveway, hands on her head, watching her $60,000 patio set get forklifted onto a flatbed. Another of the Bentley, strapped and lifted away. Griff's caption, inventory complete, deletion successful. I didn't reply, didn't need to, just stared at the screen, breathing steady calm and absolute. This wasn't revenge, it was balance. That evening, I sat on the back porch of my new place. Smaller, quieter, but mine. Ethan sat to my left, spinning his old lacrosse stick. Grace curled up beside me, sketching in her notebook. No shouting, no lies, no games. Dad, Grace asked softly, are we really okay now? I wrapped an arm around her. Yeah, sweetheart, we really are. Ethan nodded. Feels weird. Quiet, but good. Like Really good. I smiled. That's called peace. None of us spoke after that. We just sat together whole again. My phone buzzed. A message from Celeste. Thornton's plea deal accepted. 9 years. No parole. A second followed. Melissa's bankruptcy denied. Fraud flagged. She's on her own now. I set the phone down. No reaction. No satisfaction needed. This wasn't about winning. This was closure. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Grace leaned into me. Can we never, ever do anything like this again? I squeezed her hand. Never, as long as I breathe. Ethan looked over. So, you're really starting the company? Already did, I said. Cybersecurity, private risk consulting. We'll help people protect themselves from people like Thornton. Ethan grinned. Cool. Grace smiled. Can I design the logo? Deal. The war was over, and for the first time in a long time, I was home. The sentencing wasn't held in family court, it was federal. The building felt colder, heavier. The marble floors echoed like warnings. The ceilings stretched so high, they made everyone feel small. I sat toward the back, not detach intentional. I wanted Thornton to look for me, to scan the room and wonder if I was watching. I was. He shuffled in through a side door, chained at the wrists, an orange jumpsuit hanging off him like regret. The man who once wore $8,000 suits now looked like a washed-out ghost. No Rolex. No smirk, no swagger, just a face drained of everything. The judge didn't waste time. Chase Thornton, he said coldly. This court finds you guilty on all counts. Wire fraud, securities fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, conspiracy, and 1 count of child endangerment related to your assault on a minor. Thornton flinched. The judge continued. Given the scope of your crimes, the premeditated nature of your financial schemes, and your attempts to flee through offshore shell structures, this court sentences you to 9 years in federal prison. No parole. He paused. You are ordered to pay restitution totaling $11.4 million to victims named in this case, including but not limited to the development contracts under Raven Ridge Holdings and its subsidiaries. The gavel came down hard. It was over. Thornton slumped in his chair. His lawyer didn't move. No comfort. No words. Just silence. When Thornton finally found me in the crowd, I didn't look away. I held his gaze solid, unblinking. Message received. You lost. You never stood a chance. Melissa wasn't in the courtroom. She was across town, swarmed by reporters outside bankruptcy court. Griff sent me a live stream. She stood behind sunglasses, makeup streaked, lips tight. Reporters closed in, cameras flashing. No comment, she snapped, voice sharp and cracked. The news footage cut to her Bentley being winched onto a flatbed. Then came the wine cellar, jewelry cases, Fendi sofas, all tagged and boxed. Every ounce of status she'd built on someone else's bones, now dismantled piece by piece. One anchor's voice overlaid it all. What was once one of Austin's most enviable power couples has come undone in spectacular fashion. Then Griff's text landed. Checkmate. That night, back home in a place that was finally mine, I watched Ethan pour drinks while Grace arranged dinner plates. No cameras, no games, no lies, just family, just peace. And for the first time in years, I exhaled. I sat on the back porch, watching Ethan and Grace toss a football across the yard. No shouting, no tension, just laughter, real laughter, the kind I hadn't heard from them in too long. Grace hurled a wild pass. Ethan Dove crashed into the grass and came up laughing so hard he couldn't breathe. Nice arm, Grace, he wheezed, grinning. Yeah, well, you've got bricks for hands, she fired back. I leaned back in my chair, letting the sound of them fill the evening air. This right here was the prize. Not money, not assets, not victory in court. Them, whole, safe. Laughing again. Later, after dinner tacos, messy and perfect, the kids curled up on the couch with a Marvel movie. I stepped outside with my phone, and dialed. Celeste answered on the second ring. "It's done," she said. "Signed. Sealed. Locked in. Mercer's assets are gone. Victims get full restitution. Federal holds are in place on everything he or Melissa touched together. The judge also terminated her claim to anything tied to your name." I exhaled slowly. "And the house?" "Yours. Free and clear. Quitclaim deed was filed this afternoon." "And her trust?" Her voice softened slightly. "Still under audit. Mercer used it as a laundering pipeline. She'll lose at least half, maybe more. She'll be lucky to keep what's in her dresser drawer." I let the silence linger. "You okay, Frank?" Celeste asked. I nodded, even if she couldn't see it. "Yeah, for the first time in a long time. Yeah, I really am." The next morning, a courier dropped off a letter, handwritten, from Melissa. I turned it over twice before opening it. The handwriting was shaky, nothing like her usual confident penmanship. Just 3 lines. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I hope one day you'll believe I didn't mean for it to go this far. I destroyed everything, including myself. Goodbye, Frank." No signature. No apology. Just a ghost of the woman who once thought she could build a better life by burning down ours. I folded the letter, slid it into my desk, and locked it away. Not to forget, but to remember. To remember what happens when someone tries to erase you and you choose to fight back. By the end of the month, Thornton was transferred to a federal facility in Louisiana. Minimum 9 years, assuming he survived the lawsuits. Melissa quietly vacated the last rental she could afford in Coral Gables. Her name vanished from every social scene she used to dominate. No more galas, no more yacht parties. Just a whisper synonymous now with fraud, bankruptcy, and disgrace. And me? I built something real. Walker Cyber Defense, private cybersecurity for high-net-worth individuals and corporations. A company built not just to generate revenue, but to protect people from exactly the kind of betrayal I'd lived through. Within weeks, clients lined up. Word travels fast when someone takes down a predator like Thornton. People trust survivors, especially ones who come out the other side bulletproof. One night, while I was reviewing contracts, Ethan stepped into my office. "Dad?" "Yeah, buddy?" He shifted awkwardly, then walked over with something in his hand, a framed photo. Me and him, years ago, from one of our old fishing trips. The one Melissa had thrown away. "Found this in one of Mom's boxes," he said. "Figured it belongs here now." My throat caught. Yeah, it does." He placed it gently on my desk beside my monitor. "We're good now, right?" I stood, pulled him into a hug. "We're better than good. We're unbreakable." The months rolled forward. Ethan made varsity lacrosse. Grace had her first art show at school. The house filled with music, dinners, laughter. Not perfect, not fantasy, just real. A family. On a breezy Saturday, I sat on the back deck, coffee in hand. The same yard where Melissa once dreamed of building a pool with Thornton never happened. Instead, that space became a fire pit, a few lawn chairs, and an old swing set Ethan rebuilt for Grace, his way of saying sorry for the years lost. The swing creaked gently in the wind. The sky was clear. And for the first time in years, I felt something powerful. Free, truly, finally free. As the sun dipped low behind the trees, I closed my eyes and let it stay that way for just a little while longer. I whispered into the silence, more to myself than to anyone else. "You wanted me erased. Congratulations." A faint smile touched my lips. "I erased you instead." 6 months later, the scars were still there, invisible but real, but we weren't bleeding anymore. The kids adjusted faster than I ever expected. Not because they forgot, but because for the first time in years they felt safe. Ethan wasn't the angry, guarded kid I picked up after lacrosse that first night. He was back to being him. Smart, sharp, competitive as hell. His team made regionals. He played like he had something to prove, and nothing left to fear. Grace blossomed too. Her room, Once a sterile museum curated by Melissa, was now a chaos of life sketches on the wall, paint on the floor, colors everywhere. It was hers. Loud, messy, vibrant. And me? I slept. Really slept. The kind of sleep that doesn't flinch at every vibration, doesn't wake at phantom headlights or late-night emails. No more checking the driveway for Thornton's Audi. No more wondering what story was being whispered into my kids' ears. All of that, gone. Our mornings became routine again. Coffee brewing, music in the background, Grace teasing Ethan. No tension, no walking on eggshells, just life. I stood at the kitchen counter, watching Ethan shovel cereal like a machine, while Grace tried to argue pineapple off the pizza list. "Dad," Ethan said between bites, "tell her pineapple on pizza isn't a crime." I raised an eyebrow. "It's not a crime," I said, "but it's questionable." "Traitor," Grace threw her arms up. And that was our chaos now, the good kind. Noise with meaning. Family noise. That afternoon, I met Griff at our usual spot-the-same cafe where we'd mapped out the first stages of taking my life back. He handed me a manila envelope as he slid into the booth. "Final report," he said. I opened it. Inside, Mercer's complete collapse, asset forfeiture, property seizures, final restitution numbers, the total body count of his empire, reduced to forms and signatures. "Thornton's locked up," Griff said. "No chance at early release." "And Melissa?" "Bankruptcy's finalized. She's renting a 2-bedroom in Homestead. Works remote for some customer service gig. Off social media. Out of Miami's orbit for good." I nodded. "Good, let it stay that way." Griff looked at me for a beat. "Any part of you feel sorry for her?" I stirred my coffee slowly, considering it. Thought about the long arc of deception. The choices, the silence, the look in her eyes when she thought she had it all. "No," I said at last, "because feeling sorry means pretending she didn't know what she was doing. And she did, every step of the way." Griff nodded. "Fair." We sat in silence after that. Two men who'd walked through hell and didn't need to fill the quiet. We'd earned it. He glanced toward the window. "By the way, that firm of yours? Word's getting around. Hedge fund in Palm Beach asked about contracts. You're going to need a bigger team." I smiled. "Already started recruiting." I smiled. "Yeah. Feels good building something that's mine. Just mine." That evening, as the sky faded into soft gold over the Miami skyline, I grilled dinner on the back patio. Ethan bounced a soccer ball against the fence. Grace was at the table with her sketchbook, legs tucked under her, humming to herself. Life felt normal, not small, not dulled. Reclaimed. A buzz broke the quiet. Text from Celeste. "New court order just arrived. Melissa voluntarily relinquished all custodial rights. Looks like she finally accepted reality." I stared at the screen for a moment, then typed back, "Good. Thanks, Celeste, for everything." Her reply came instantly. "Anytime, Frank. You earned this peace." "Yeah, I did." As we set the table outside, Grace looked up. "Dad?" "Yeah?" She hesitated. "Do you think bad people always get what's coming to them?" I paused, setting the tongs down. "Sometimes the world handles it, but sometimes," I met her eyes, "you have to make sure it happens yourself." She nodded thoughtfully. "I'm glad you did." Ethan grinned. "Yeah, you kinda went full John Wick, but like, legal." I laughed louder than I expected. "Yeah, kid, I guess I did." We ate under string lights, no pretense, no formal table, just burgers, fries, and a table full of ketchup stains. And as the stars blinked awake overhead, Grace swung her feet under the table and asked quietly, "Dad, are we okay now? For real?" I smiled. "Yeah, sweetheart. We're better than okay." For the first time in years, we were home, and no one ever again was going to take that from me. Life teaches us that some battles aren't won with fists or fury, but with quiet resolve and relentless truth. Betrayal cuts deep. Not just because of what's lost, but because of who takes it. But in the wreckage, in the silence after everything shatters, we're handed a choice. We can surrender to someone else's version of our story, or we can take the pen back and write our own ending. This wasn't just a story about loss, not just revenge, not even justice. It was about reclaiming self-worth when someone tries to erase it, about knowing that no lie, no betrayal, no collapse can truly destroy a man who refuses to break. Sometimes, the most powerful act isn't to fight louder, it's to stand still, let truth rise, and walk away with your dignity intact. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If this story hit home, if it made you reflect, feel, or remember, drop your thoughts in the comments. We love seeing how these stories connect across miles and lives. Like, subscribe, tap the bell. More stories are coming of strength, of second chances, and of the quiet kind of victory no one sees coming. Because sometimes, living well really is the best revenge.